Good morning. My name is Steve Mayo, and I am thrilled to welcome you all to this glorious event as we celebrate the official groundbreaking of our new Wakefield Memorial High School. As former Assistant Principal Dennis O'Leary coined many years ago, it's a great day to be a warrior. I thought I'd get more out of that. Come on. Before we get started, I'd like to introduce a few of our distinguished guests here today. With us is James McDonald and Mary Pachetti from the Mass School Building Authority, Senator Jason Lewis, State Representative Kate Lipper-Garabedian, and Donald Wong is here in spirit, although he had another engagement this morning. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Doug Lyons, Cara Morrow, Assistant Superintendent, High School Principal Amy McLeod, and I think, did I see Assistant Principals Geraldine Trafficante and Joseph Mullaney? Did I see you guys here today? Great, thank you. And of course, our friend Tim O'Brien, Facilities Director of Wakefield Wakefield Public Schools. Where's Tim? Wave your broken hand that was part of the project, so we'll be sending that bill in. Members of Wakefield Town Council, Chair Mike McLean, Vice Chair Ed Dombrowski, Doug Butler, Maureen Butt, John Carney, Bob Vincent, and Jonathan Chines. Members of the Wakefield School Committee, Chair Steve Ingalls, Vice Chair Kevin Fontanella, Eileen Colleran, Pete Davis, Melissa Quinn, Tom Markin, and Dr. Kevin Piscadlo. Members of the Permanent Building Committee are here, including their chair, Joe Bertrand. Joe's probably making sure they're doing everything right over there. Where are you, Joe? Okay. Thank you. There he is. And Wakefield School Building Committee, our project team from Left Field LLC, MMA Architects, and our general contractor, Bond Building, which you guys have a lot of people that live in town, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank all of the teachers, parents, students, and townspeople who are also with us this morning. Full disclosure, my wife Jean and I graduated from Wakefield Memorial High School in 1980, and I will say that extensive research has been done, and Dr. Lyons will back me up. The class of 1980 has been previously determined as the greatest class to graduate from Wakefield High School. No, but we enjoyed wonderful times and a first-class education. We were also blessed to have our children graduate from the old Wakefield High School, as did many of our classmates. But let me tell you, this is not a bittersweet moment for me at all. And it is time for the next generation to enjoy the advantages of a modern school, and my hats are off to SMMA, as I feel they designed an excellent one, and Bond, with the assistance of the Permanent Building Committee, and Left Field, our OPM, will ensure that we build that excellently designed structure. This new building will support the efforts of all of the administrators, teachers, and the entire school staff, whether paraprofessional, clerical, or custodial, as they manage the winding pathways in educating our students, certainly shaping them for success in school and post-graduation. I also note that the citizens of Wakefield have always supported educational excellence, and two very important votes were necessary to approve the funding of this new school, and both were overwhelmingly supported by Wakefield citizens. The town meeting vote held on January 28, 2023 approved the new high school by a vote of 1,231 to 41, or 97%. Think about that, 97% of the people that came out here on a Saturday morning and stayed and stood in line voted for the new school. On March 11th, 2023, the town went to the polls, where over 70% voted to fund the new school, 3431 to 1433. And these people, they voluntarily raised their hands to maybe spend up to $1,500 more a year in their taxes to fund this project. So again, an overwhelmingly commitment to educational excellence by our town, and I am so proud to be part of this fabulous community. Now, no community can build a school on its own, and we need partnerships at many levels. Perhaps no partnership is more important than Wakefield's school partnership with the Massachusetts School Building Authority, who has worked with us and assisted us in the funding of 5 schools in Wakefield, including close to $80 million for the Wakefield Memorial High School. And next week, Dr. Lyons and I have lunch, and we're working on the 6th, so be prepared. But before we get to that, I'd like to invite James McDonald, the Chief Executive Officer of the Mass School Building Authority, to say a few words. Mr. McDonald.
Well, thankfully, good morning. Thankfully, the sun is shining today in Wakefield, and I'm sure those that are working behind appreciate the good weather. So on behalf of Treasurer Goldberg, Mary Pachetti, the Executive Director of MSBA, and Maria Popolo, congratulations. Congratulations on reaching this milestone today. It is the beginning of a process that will result in an amazing high school for the town of Wakefield. The hard work by Joe and the Permanent Building Committee in selecting a great team of left field, MMA, and Bond Brothers to oversee, design, and build this high school were great choices because they have the experience and they have done this throughout the Commonwealth. I also want to acknowledge a legislative delegation, Senator Lewis, Representative Wong, Representative Garabedian, for their advocacy and support for not only this project, but others throughout the state. They supported legislation that allowed the MSBA to give additional funds to communities that experience additional costs during a specific period due to inflation in COVID. In fairness, the MSBA added 9 communities that fell just outside this legislation, and Wakefield is one of those communities that will receive an additional $14.9 million grants. But I will say, without this legislation, this would not have happened. And I just also want to just acknowledge personally Senator Lewis for the work that he has done with MSBA and others throughout the Commonwealth. He has been an advocate for school buildings for as long as I have been around with MSBA. So Representatives and the Senators, congratulations for your work and thank you very much. And I think they deserve a round of applause. This new high school will give the students, faculty, and staff a place to learn and grow using the most up-to-date technology and learning environment that they deserve. Clearly, as just mentioned, the taxpayers of Wakefield know the value of investing in their students. And in closing, I'm going to talk a little story about a guy named Dan Valentine, who was a reporter for the Salt Lake City Tribune, and he once wrote that a school is 4 walls with tomorrow inside. And I'll tell you that we at the MSBA are so proud to be a part of Wakefield's tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Another important partnership we enjoy here in Wakefield is with our state senator, Jason Lewis, and our 2 state representatives, Donald Wong and Kate Lipper-Garabedian. Our delegation has been with us every step of the way, from feasibility studies to final approval that we received from the School Building Authority. As Mr. McDonald said, we got this approved, and inflation, it was post-COVID, there was inflation, and there was a lot of new expenses that no one could really anticipated them skyrocketing as much as they did. So I know that the delegation calls me More Money Mayo, and I don't mind that. I wear that badge with honor. So seeing this need, our delegation worked ever so diligently with the School Building Authority, and I can't tell you how grateful we are for that. I like to say $15 million. I like to round that up a little bit. 14.9 is good, but 15 sounds a little better. And what's important about this is that this is a direct savings to the taxpayer. So the taxpayers voted to, open up their pocketbooks to help fund this school, as did SBA. This $15 million, it will be a reduction to what the taxpayers are paying. Not everything, but it does help. So I certainly personally thank our delegation and ask them to offer their continued good wishes for the project, starting with Senator Lewis. Jason.
Well, thank you so much, Steve, and good morning, everyone. What an incredibly exciting day for the entire Wakefield community. I'm just thrilled to be able to join you all today. As we know, this has been many, many years in the making. When we were chatting before the event began, we talked about how this project officially began about a decade ago, but really we know this was even several decades in the making when we first started discussing the need to build a new high school here in Wakefield. And I view a high school as I would describe it as the anchor tenant of each of our communities. I can't think of a more important facility. And obviously it's not just the physical structure, but it's what happens every day inside that building, and how much it means to the students, of course, to the families, and really to the entire well-being and the vitality of every community. So this is really, really something to celebrate. As has been pointed out, nobody could have predicted that we would have faced a global pandemic, and along with that, the supply chain disruptions and the level of inflation that we've seen, especially in the construction industry. And that did present us with an unprecedented cost escalation. And the MSBA, the legislature, we'd never really seen anything quite like that before. And I am proud that we were able to step up and really working closely with Jim McDonald, Treasurer Goldberg, and the former executive director of the MSBA, Jack McCarthy. Thank you to Jack as well, and the whole team. We really were able to put together a plan that increased the spending authority for the MSBA, actually provided them with $100 million of additional money. By the way, that was thanks to the passage of what is known as the Fair Share Amendment, or the Millionaire's Tax. If the voters didn't support that at the ballot in 2022, we would not have been able to provide that additional funding to the MSBA. And as a net result of that plan, which was included in the State Senate's budget last year, and I really want to thank Representative Lippic-Garabedian for her support in helping get that into the final budget, which was then signed by Governor Healy. As a result of that plan being included, and we'd never done anything like that before. It was kind of a first-time unique event to put together a plan like that. As has been said, that is what enabled the MSBA to make these supplemental grants and to provide that additional, I'll also round it up, Steve, $15 million. And again, it is worth pointing out, that is going to directly save money for Wakefield taxpayers. And again, as Steve pointed out, and as high schools are very expensive projects, this is a major financial burden, on the taxpayers in Wakefield. And so being able to provide that a little bit of relief, I think will be very welcome. I know we're all looking forward to a new world-class high school, and that will have accessible classrooms, new science labs, media center, indoor and outdoor spaces. It'll be a green, healthy, net zero, energy-ready building, which will help the Commonwealth meet its climate goals. This new facility will absolutely be a source of great pride for Wakefield students, families, educators, and the entire community, I'm sure, for decades to come. So I want to close with my thanks to my colleagues in the delegation. Thank you, Representative Lippic-Garabedian, also Representative Wong. I want to offer my great thanks and gratitude to Superintendent Lyons and your whole team, and the amazing school committee, both current and former members of the school committee. Thank you to Town Administrator Steve Mayo, your amazing leadership on this and so many other projects, and Jonathan Chines and the current and former members of the Town Council for your terrific leadership. The Permanent Building Committee and the School Building Committee, thank you very much for your tireless efforts on behalf of this and other projects. And a really great appreciation to our amazing team from the MSBA for the work you've done on this project and so many others across the Commonwealth. And I will close with my thanks to Wakefield residents for, again, as has been pointed out, overwhelmingly approving the local share funding for this project. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. It's so great to be with you today to celebrate the groundbreaking of the new Wakefield High School. As a former 7th grade teacher and the mother of 2 school-age students, I'm incredibly proud to represent a community that has stepped forward to support such an important investment in the students and families of this town. And this is, again, as others have said, such a great testament to the power of a strong state-local partnership. I want to thank all of the folks who have been involved in this for many years. The construction of this high school marks a significant milestone in Wakefield's journey toward continuing to provide top-tier education and opportunities for our students to flourish. It symbolizes our unwavering commitment to investing in future generations and ensuring they have access to the resources and facilities they need to succeed to keep Wakefield as a thriving, vibrant town. As someone who has been both in the classroom as an educator and then practiced education law for more than a decade, including as chief legal counsel to the Executive Office of Education, I know firsthand how critical the role education plays in shaping the lives of our youth. It's not just about imparting knowledge, but also nurturing their creativity, instilling civic values, and fostering a sense of community and inclusion. This new environment for learning will serve to empower students to flourish during their high school education, thriving academically, socially, and emotionally. I want to again extend my gratitude to all those who worked to make this project a reality. I'm looking forward to the ribbon cutting in a few years and knowing that we will continue to ensure that every student in Wakefield has the opportunity to reach their full potential. Thank you.
Again, thank you to the entire state delegation for their unwavering support, and I think you do deserve another round of applause. So, thank you. We've talked a lot about partnerships today, and I am extremely grateful for the partnership that I enjoy with the Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Lyons. Doug and I work very closely on issues from student safety to social dynamics to annual budgets to building new schools. I am convinced that Doug has the best interest of Wakefield at his core, and I truly enjoy working with him and look forward to the opening of this great new facility. Dr. Lyons.
Mr. Mayo, thank you so much for the kind words. What Steve isn't telling you is that Steve's father was the superintendent of schools here. His wife was a teacher in our school system, and his brother-in-law was chair of the school committee. Right? And so this project is many years in the making, and I think it's very personal for Steve, and I think that this is an accomplishment that he should be very proud of, and I too am grateful and lucky to really benefit from the partnership that we have. Not a lot of towns kind of have this kind of close partnership, and I'm grateful for it. It's a large reason why we are as successful as we are. I'd like to say thank you to the school committee. I'd like to say thank you to past chairs, Amy Purcell, Susie Veyer, Amy Lehman, who are here. Thank you for your patience while this is going on. This project, I arrived here 9 years ago. September will be the start of my 10th year. I arrived here and I heard very clearly, we need a new high school. The building is not as accessible as it needs to be. Our science labs are not up to snuff, and it's affecting our NEASC accreditation. Teachers came forward and worked on a pre-feasibility study to collect information that we thought would be a home run in our third attempt with the MSBA. We were unsuccessful. In our fourth attempt, we were successful in getting MSBA support. Our state delegation had a key hand in that. And since we were approved, we've been moving very, very quickly. I can't thank the community enough. I can't thank teachers enough. Mike Scolo was here. Mike had a hand in the building of Galvin. You know, I met Mike when we did the pre-feasibility study in the Savings Bank Theater, and he said, we're going to get this done. And Mike, you were right. So thank you for that, and thank you for your leadership in the community. And to all others that contributed as well. I know we've covered a lot of ground with thanks, but I'm grateful to be here. And this project is going to make an enormous difference for the town of Wakefield, for the Wakefield community, and for our teachers and students. And so please don't miss that in the narrative. We have students here with us today, and thank you for taking time out of your classes to come and just hear a few words from the adults. We appreciate that. Other than that, I'd like to say thanks to Jen McDonald for helping with kind of public relations and communications, and thank you. And we are very, very grateful, so thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Lyons, and I think you pick up the check for lunch next week. Okay. Leadership comes from many different areas, but it is especially important when it's embodied in the senior elected board in town. The town council, particularly Councilor Chines, has been extremely proactive in the creation, presentation, avocation, and finally funding of our new high school. Throughout the entire process, Councilor Chines has worked tirelessly on this project as a member and chair of the town council, member of the school building committee, but perhaps most importantly as a parent of children that will directly benefit from the new school. Jonathan, thank you for all you did, your fine work in pushing this school forward. Mr. Chines.
I'm a little taller, so I got to move the microphone up a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Mayo. I am so excited to be here today. And after all of the years that have gone into this project, it is really wonderful to see shovels over there and a pile of dirt for us to dig into. This is a great day of celebration in Wakefield, and I'm so glad to be a part of it. As Steve mentioned, my name is Jonathan Chines. I'm a member of the Town Council, and over the last couple of years, I've been the Council's point person on this project. As Steve also mentioned, I'm the parent of 4 children in the Wakefield Public Schools, one of whom will be an incoming freshman at the building behind us this fall. A couple of months ago, as a parent, my wife and I and our son attended a high school orientation for incoming freshmen. And we had a chance to talk to the teachers and staff at the high school, and as we did, their passion, their creativity, the love that they show for their jobs and the students that they teach and mentor every day was abundantly clear. We also met some of the students, some of whom are sitting here today, and it was clear that the town of Wakefield and the Wakefield Public Schools also produce some truly incredible young people whose curiosity and interest and commitment to the world around them is fostered by their experiences at Wakefield High. All that these amazing teachers and students have lacked is a facility that allows their time at Wakefield to reach its full potential, and today we take a critical step in giving them that facility. Now, as everyone has mentioned, it's been over a decade to get us to this point, and there are so many people that deserve credit for bringing us to today's groundbreaking. And so on behalf of my current and former colleagues on the Town Council, my current colleagues, all of whom are here today, my current and former colleagues on the school committee, who are all here today, as well as the other boards and committees in town that have supported this project and worked on this project over the years, I'd like to thank a number of folks. Superintendent Lyons, Principal McLeod, Tim O'Brien, with his injury and all of the staff of the Wakefield Public Schools, thank you for helping to develop the vision for a 21st century education and how that might be reflected in this new building. To the Massachusetts School Building Authority, we're so grateful for your partnership, not only in providing the critical funding, we're really grateful for that, but also importantly for providing the expertise and the technical support for this project. Building a school is not an easy endeavor, and to have the expertise, to have the experience from the Mass School Building Authority helping us along the way has been really critical. A number of folks have thanked our legislative delegation, and I really can't say enough to Senator Lewis, Representative Lipper-Garabedian, and Representative Wong, not only for advocating for our community, but also for assuring that the funding we needed would be available to the MSBA. And again, to Senator Lewis in particular, as chair of the Education Committee, your leadership role in this, not only for Wakefield, but for communities across the Commonwealth, has just been amazing. So thank you for that. I see members of our Permanent Building Committee and School Building Committee here today, as well as our project teams from Bond and Left Field and SMMA. Thank you all for the time, the commitment, and the work that you've put into taking our vision for a new school and turning it into an actionable plan and something that we're starting work on today. I might be getting ahead of myself. I certainly am getting ahead of myself. But if history is any guide, I'm also going to thank the Permanent Building Committee in advance for bringing this project in on time and on budget. Joe, I know you can do it, Joe. I said on budget. Under would be great too. I see a number of friends here today from the Yes for WMHS campaign, and I really want to thank them from the bottom of my heart and the dozens of volunteers across Wakefield who helped galvanize support for this project at town meeting and on the ballot. The margins that Steve talked about when he talked about the votes don't happen by accident. They happen because so many people in this community reached out and talked to their neighbors and told the story of why this was important, and you all were a big part of that, and so I thank you very much, Mike and everyone on the Yes for WMHS campaign. And finally, and most importantly, I want to thank the residents of Wakefield. We've talked about the fact that this is a big project. It's a big project in terms of cost. It's a big project in terms of inconvenience for anyone who's using this school on a daily basis understands. But our neighbors didn't hesitate. They didn't hesitate when they were asked to take this on as a community and do the right thing for the future. In closing, I believe that one of our most sacred responsibilities as community leaders, as parents, and as citizens is to provide for the generations that come after us. Today, we take a big step in delivering on that promise here in Wakefield. I am so proud of our community, and I'm looking forward to celebrating the grand opening of the new Wakefield Memorial High School with all of you in a few short years. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today, for helping to make this dream a reality, and I appreciate you all being here. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chines. In closing, and before we proceed to the ceremonial shoveling, I again wish to thank you all for your involvement and support of this project, for we would not be standing here today without it. So thank you, and I think you should give yourselves a round of applause, because this has been a long time coming, and now's the easy part, right, Frank? Building it is the easy part? Perfect, okay. As CEO McDonald said, a school is four walls with tomorrow inside. How lucky are we to be able to begin building today what will be a brighter tomorrow for all of Wakefield? Again, I thank you all for coming, and we will be doing some pictures here. So please, if you're on a past, present committee, want to get into a picture, please stay, and we'll be doing that. So thank you all for coming. Thank you.
One more. Look up. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's the most work we've done.
One, two, three. Oh, there we go. It's motion and everything.